Okay, folks, I have incense burning. I have shitty red wine. I'm not going to show you the label because I just like get ridiculed. But I thank you for letting me be a part of your group. Last night I was watching all the IFWA stuff back and forth and was really intrigued by all the conversation and I wanted to submit something, but I started typing. I'm like, maybe this will be a better way to put across my thoughts. And I don't need to lecture alumni about why IFWA is important because you guys lived that. But I thought I would do is just from my own perspective why I think IFWA is important. Take it or leave it, whatever. Thumbs up, thumbs down, completely up to you. I don't read the comments because I'm not that emotionally stable to read negative comments about me. So anyway, I'm going to try to condense down a 40-year story into something that's palatable in this way. Literally 40 years. So when I met Craig in 2005, 20 years this year, I had already been a firearms instructor in some form or fashion for 20. I got my start in the military. I was an infantry skills instructor, infantry survival instructor, got out of the military, immediately started working for an indoor handgun range in Portland, Oregon. And after about 18 months, they realized they had a real passion, a true passion for instruction. So they started to send me to schools. Typically one school a year for sure, many years, 2 schools. I'm talking about week-long, 4-day-long schools, conferences, trade shows, the whole bit. And I really dove into that. Now, coming out of the military, I thought I knew everything, never handled a pistol really in the Army. So I was relearning all kinds of things and I had and grew a true passion about that. Now, through that development, 20 years of learning handgunnery, pistolry, fighting with a handgun against paper targets, there was some things that would keep cropping up that were a real concern. Pivotal to this, a very dear friend of mine to this day, and one of the most wonderful martial art instructors I've ever met, Chris Clark. Him and I became friends from the range, and he was a pistol guy, loved shooting. We actually attended Thunder Ranch, Texas together. Had a blast. He one day he was sitting in my office and we we're just jaw jacking, and he says, "Could you actually get that gun out in time?" I'm like, dude, you see my sub-second draws? What are you talking about? Yeah. And so I shoved what is now blue red gun in my pants. I actually thought maybe it was a yellow one. I don't know. Shoved a blue gun in my pants, and we're sitting there talking. And before I could get my gun out, he's smacking the shit out of me. And I was like, that sucks. Let's try that again. More smacking happens, and I'm thinking, yeah, best probably ought to figure out how to move my feet. So that forever changed my handgun instruction. I instantly implemented as much movement on the range as possible. A lot of that stuff I did get from Thunder Ranch. The first place I ever saw movement on the range while firing a pistol to be conducted safe with a big old long line of people doing it at the same time. So I really, dove into that. The next pivotal point of concern for me was, where do gunfights happen? And, at first it was, all gunfights happen at 7 yards. Whatever. We know the whole horse shittery about 21 feet, and we know the problems with all of that. So, okay. And then it seemed like every year new statistics from the experts would come out, and you know what statistics are like. 60% of the time it works every time. And you can make a statistic for anything you want to try to prove. But it appeared to me that those gunfights happen at distances were getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Well, they're 18 feet, now they're 15 feet, now they're 10 feet. The last thing that I heard when I stopped listening was all gunfights most gunfights happen at contact distance. Well, what's contact distance? Contact distance, if I'm standing there talking to somebody and I can reach out and touch you, that's contact distance, right? Well, if you got two 6-foot dudes talking to each other and I can outstretch my arm and they outstretch their arm and we touch tips talking, that's contact distance as far as I'm concerned. So what's that? 6 feet? Two 6-foot dudes, arm length away, 6 feet, 6 feet. So what if that dude took a full, proper 30-inch step to the rear? That's over 8 feet. How fast can that person close the distances? So concern one, fights happen close. Gunfights happen close. 2, rates of closure. How fast can that person get there? If that person 8 feet away, 10 feet away, can get to me way faster than I can get my gun out, because I've been practicing the living hell out of that draw stroke, that's a question. The other thing is I had a huge passion for martial arts. I loved boxing, and I tried to do it. I'm a horrible martial artist, but I loved Western boxing, Filipino boxing, Chinese boxing, French boxing, I don't know, any kind of boxing. I love it. And I knew that from my military experience and just kind of thinking through things, that this divide, back in the day, this strange divide, that the gun guys won't talk to the defensive tactics, self-defense, DT guys, whatever you want to call them. Those guys are in their office talking their shit, and gun guys are out in the range talking their shit. And never the twain shall meet. I knew that was wrong. And I knew that something had to happen about it. So I really strove into that. I really got into how do we blend the defensive tactics with the gun stuff. And, I did a lot. I was slowly converting our range drills into simunition drills. We got shut down by simunition, but then airsoft, we were trying to do as much airsoft work as we possibly could. The other thing that I had problems with was the more I learned from the greats, and we could list them off. I probably sat under them, on them, they sat on me, they laid on me. Took classes from these fellows, occasionally a gal. I would hear more and more about how handguns don't work too good. What? What do you mean? Pistol caliber handguns aren't that good. What did Clint Smith say? We teach handgun skills because you carry a gun because it's a way to fight your way back to the rifle you shouldn't have put down in the first place. And I'm talking about people that I really respected, like Evan Marshall. That dude knows more about pistol ballistics than I'll ever care to know. And I think he said it. I'll hand it to him. Who knows who said it, but pistol caliber handguns do not work well against dedicated adult humans. Okay, wait a minute. I'm practicing my 2 to the chest, 1 to the head all day long, and it's not going to work. Oh, and then if it doesn't work, throw some in the hip bone. Maybe that'll slow them down. So, okay, you got closure, contact distance. Handguns don't work well. Those were all really floating around in my brain. And if you've attended the ECQC while I was there, you've heard me lament about Chris LeBlanc. Chris LeBlanc is the fellow that made me bring in Craig Douglas from Mississippi to Portland to conduct our first ECQC. I was pissed about it because, I'm doing all this stuff. We're doing great things with the airsoft. We're trying to figure this out. I took that class and was horrified. Absolutely horrified. Mortified, dejected, embarrassed. And it's because my boxing didn't work, my handgunnery didn't work, my tacticalness didn't work. I got my ass whipped. And Craig will even say, half the time you'll fail more than you will succeed. And I get it. But it was so devastating to me. I have these videos. I have my Evos, several Evos for over the years. I was watching, a couple months ago, I was watching one. I literally was covering my eyes, watching me get beat to death by two dudes. I literally was going like this. It was like watching a deer get torn down on the plains of the Serengeti and eaten alive by lions. It was just terrible. Now, I'm not saying that pistol craft is not important, but if we have a rate of closure rate, if fights happen super close and handgun calibers don't work well, then what do we have left? We have IFWA. If muck fails, if you're in a situation where you are not mucking, your muck is so mucky, it's horrible, and you're not paying attention, you're task fixated, you're not awareing well, right? You're paying attention to everything but what you should be, and now you're in contact with someone that's wanting to do robbery, nefarious things to you. You're so far behind the power curve, you have nothing left but IFWA. So now, is IFWA fun? It is not. I have struggled with that through the years because I was a horrible martial artist, and doing martial artery is hard. The one thing that I needed was jiu-jitsu. The problem with it is jiu-jitsu sucks. It's sweaty and it's hard and it is uncomfortable. Now, some people might love it, and I know tons of people that their whole life revolves around jiu-jitsu. But for me and mine, it's not something that I enjoy. But is it needed? Absolutely. The only thing that actually helped me in evolutions to perform better was the pressure derived from training in jiu-jitsu. Now, I have some wonderful coaches. Matt Leach, Ashley Force, those people really took me under my wing, and I owe them a debt of gratitude because as I watch the videos and as time has gone, I can watch my performance just tick up just slightly every time. My ability to pay attention to what's going on, my ability to look outside the panic of what's happening has changed directly because of jiu-jitsu. Now, I'm not saying that we forget firing guns. I spent a lot of time ballistically masturbating. I think shooting at paper targets is important. It's fun. You should do it. You should be able to operate your pistol. But the other side of that is knowing how to handle yourself inside close contact. Now, ECQC is a snapshot in time. Yes, it is not every time you get in a confrontation, whether it's verbal or physical, is it going to go into an IFWA situation. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is Craig has developed a multidisciplinary approach to problem solving in close contact at touching ranges. And it is a snapshot in time. I haven't heard him say this in years. Maybe I'm just not listening, but he used to say ECQC is in extremis. In extremis, that means at or to the point of death. You are in a situation that has gone so wrong. How do you manage and how do you problem solve that? So, to me, ECQC and IFWA is just a subsect within that 2.5 day shit show, right? And you've experienced that. IFWA is just a little piece of that, a part of it. It's an important part, but it's just a part of all of the other things that are going on there. But IFWA, to me, has not only changed the trajectory of my life, it's actually made me, I think, a better human being. I regret the amount of time that I, in my learning the handgun stuff, I regret the amount of time that I wasn't spending doing IFWA and ECQC. I think I probably regret that more than my ex-wives. All right. Anyway, see you soon.